Thanks for tuning into our podcast. We love having you here, and it's our mission to bring you all the latest and greatest tips, skills, and know-how to make you the best that you can be. We know that you have it in you, and we're going to show you how. Now, let's get started.
This episode is powered by Poddex.
Thank you for tuning in today. You are now listening to That Will Never Work podcast with your host, Maurice Chisholm. Hello, everybody. As you well know, we are on this trek today. We've been on this trek for a little while, helping people to understand how to build their brand. So one of the things I had the most interesting conversation with the other day was, should they still invest in business cards? So here is what my thoughts are. I do think that business cards are still important, right? Business cards is still an outward way of advertising you, your brand. Most importantly, it is a way of networking, and it does not allow for someone to forget you in some cases when you meet them. So, for an example, if you're going to a network event and everyone is standing around, and a lot of times you have 3 people standing here, 4 people standing here, 5 people standing there, and you're walking by and you say, "Hi, how are you today?" You're introducing yourselves real quick. And in that moment, do you find an opportunity to hand your business card to any one of those individuals as you're speaking, as you're trying to get your point across? So that way, up front, they have your information. Now, I have had people talk about, I don't do business cards. I just, I'm not sure what the newer ways of transferring information from one phone to another. I know personally I'm not into that as of right now. It's one thing to text someone that send over your contact information, so forth and so on. But I think there's some other apps out there where you could just touch phones and one information go to the other, things like that. I'm not too keen on that. That's me personally. Again, that's me wanting to protect my own security, protecting my own phone, identity, things like that. So I'm not too on that, and so I don't know a whole lot about it. But hey, you know what? If you know more about it, please share it. We're all about education here, and I'm not saying I'm right or wrong. I just know up front what my thoughts are, and I just don't want to put myself out there like that, right? So, but I do believe that as we're trying to find our new normal, if you will, and people are still utilizing face-to-face events as their primary means of networking. So here's the thing. If you're in a networking event and you are not trying to be in someone's face for a very long time, a business card is a way where you can hand over something real quick, give it to them, and keep it moving. Now, again, those individuals who are really concerned about passing of information, things like that, I mean, that can be a concern. Yes, it can. But, keep in mind that as so much that we're doing right now, how many services we're touching, so forth and so on, we just have to make sure that we keep ourselves in a place of cleanliness and taking care of our own health all the way around. So, but if you're nervous about taking someone's business card, I totally will understand. But I do believe that business cards are still relevant in today's world. Now, one other thing that I would say to you, that if you're not utilizing something like I said, having phones touch or whatever else, you can create QR codes that someone can scan, keep it in your your photos, and have someone take a picture of it, download your information that way. Now, that's very similar to the phone thing. You're not sure what people are putting into those type of apps and whatnot. So I just err on the side of caution. Again, not saying right or wrong. Just be aware. Just be, make sure that you feel comfortable in what you're doing. That's all I'm asking for you to do. Again, all of this is a learning process, but business cards are still out there. If they weren't out there, to be honest, I don't think people like Vistaprint or some of these other organizations will still be selling them or advertising them as they have been. Now, granted, those type of organizations, they're always going to put it out there, hey, buy these products, so forth and so on. But as the industry changes, some of these larger organizations change with the industries too, or the supply and demand and things like that. So let's just keep that in mind. So I believe that between business cards, as they call it, club flyers, door hangers, things like that, I think they will still be needed as we move forward. Now, keeping in mind that as we are doing these things, some of the things that we just make sure we need to do is, again, make sure that our message is clear. Please, make sure that your most important contact information is there. Your name, your email address, your address, your website, your telephone number, whatever it is, are your main means of connectivity with an individual. Please make sure that information is there. And also do an evaluation of your business cards or your contact information every so often to make sure that, hey, you know what, phone numbers hasn't changed, things like that. So I know for myself, my business number has changed. So yes, I still have my old number, but the new number is the one that I utilize most often right now, because it does not make me sit down at a desk. So I do have a business number that I have to update on my own business cards. Let's just be honest. Making sure that the design of the card is not too messy, that it doesn't have a whole lot of visual clutter. Anything where the color schemes and design looks too harsh or anything. I've seen too many business cards where they've utilized an organization's templates, and they thought that was really, really cool, but not understanding how to utilize those templates in a way that flatters their organization and speaks towards their brand. And also, last but not least, making sure that they have their branding on there, i.e., the main thing that people identify as their brand, as someone's brand, is their logo. So just be sure that these things are taken care of, that you are making sure that you are designing these business cards, and or if they're being designed for you, that they are in a way where they really complement your brand, that the message is clear, that information is not outdated, there's no typos or misprints, that the information is not real tiny where people can't see it. Just make sure that this type of information is clear as you are selling your brand. And keep in mind, you only have 30 seconds to make an impression. And a lot of times, this is just my own experiences, when I've given someone my business card, even as I am still speaking with them, they're kind of fixated on my business card. So they want to make sure that all the information, they're actually, in my case, people have been analyzing it and looking over it and saying, hey, you know what? What do you do? It's not on here. Who are you? In some cases, I've had those type of conversations. So let's just make sure that these things are covered, that they're clear, and that individuals do not have to kind of come back and say, I don't remember you. And then next thing you know, your card is in the trash. Now, granted, you can't control what people do with your product once you put it into their hands. You can't. But how do you make it so that your brand makes an impact on these individuals up front? And one of those is your 30-second pitch. But along with that comes the next thing, which is normally how do you give them your contact information? And again, for me, business cards, but for others could be the QR code, having them scan that. And for other individuals could be that touching of the phones. And keep in mind that you probably need to have a little bit of all three in your repertoire. Thank you all very much for listening today. If you have any comments, questions, concerns, please feel free. You can always email me at mchisholm@chisholmgroup.net. If you say, hey, you know what, Maurice, maybe you forgot about this or you forgot about that, please be sure to share it. I'm okay with it. We could talk about it. Let's go.
Loved what you've heard on this week's episode? Well, the answer is simple. It would mean the world to us if you could head over to iTunes and leave us a 5-star review and feedback. Spreading the word really is the best way to grow our podcast and achieve even greater things. Thank you.